First strike. The mining colony on Kepler 186 had always been humanity's most distant outpost, but no one expected it to become the flashpoint for humanity's first interstellar war. Director Sarah Chen watched through reinforced windows as massive crystalline ships emerged from fold space, their surfaces refracting starlight like cosmic diamonds. The alien vessels dwarfed even the largest human mining platforms, and their arrival had triggered every defense system in the colony. "Status report," Chen demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around her. The colony's command center buzzed with activity as technicians and officers rushed to battle stations they'd never expected to use. 7 vessels, Director. Configuration unknown. They're positioning themselves above our primary extraction sites, Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported, his hands dancing across holographic displays. They're not responding to any standard greeting protocols. Chen had spent 15 years building this colony, transforming it from a simple prospecting operation into humanity's primary source of quantum crystalline matrices, the rare mineral that made faster-than-light travel possible. She knew exactly what the aliens were after. "Deploy the defense grid," she ordered, "and get me a quantum link to Earth Command. They need to know we're not alone anymore." The alien ships made their intentions clear moments later. Beams of coherent energy lanced from their vessels, targeting the colony's mining operations with surgical precision. But instead of the devastation they clearly expected, their weapons splashed harmlessly against invisible barriers. "Quantum shields holding at 98%, Rodriguez announced, unable to hide his relief. "Their weapons. They're powerful, but they're using standard energy configurations. They don't understand our technology at all." Chen allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had developed along a completely different technological path than their new adversaries. While these aliens clearly relied on brute force and energy weapons, humans had mastered quantum mechanics at a fundamental level. Every mining platform on Kepler 186 was protected by fields that could redirect energy through higher dimensions, making them virtually impervious to conventional attacks. "Launch the drones," Chen commanded. "Let's show them what else we can do." Thousands of small crystalline objects emerged from hidden bays throughout the colony. Each drone was smaller than a human hand, but together they formed a swarm intelligence powered by quantum computers. The aliens, apparently confused by these seemingly harmless devices, continued their barrage against the colony's shields. That was their first mistake. The drone swarm accelerated to relativistic speeds, their quantum-enhanced targeting systems allowing them to weave through the aliens' defensive fire with impossible precision. When they struck, they didn't rely on conventional weapons. Instead, each drone created a microscopic quantum singularity, bypassing shields entirely to tear apart the alien ships at the atomic level. 3 enemy vessels disabled, Rodriguez reported, his voice filled with wonder. "The others are attempting to retreat." "Not today," Chen replied. She opened a channel to the quantum containment facility, deep beneath the colony's surface. "Dr. Patel, execute Protocol Omega." Beneath the colony, experimental quantum processors whirred to life. Space itself seemed to shudder as the humans deployed their most closely guarded secret, artificial gravity wells that could trap ships in normal space, preventing their escape into fold space. The remaining alien vessels found themselves trapped, their advanced engines useless against fundamental forces they barely understood. Chen watched as the drone swarm surrounded them, creating a deadly net of quantum disruption fields. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies." When the communication system activated, Chen spoke with the authority of someone who had just proved humanity's technological superiority. "This is Director Sarah Chen of the Earth mining colony Kepler 186F. Your unprovoked attack has failed. You have 2 choices: surrender and explain why you attacked us, or be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide." The response came almost immediately, not in words, but in actions. The alien ships powered down their weapons, their crystalline surfaces dimming in submission. As Chen organized containment teams to board the surrendered vessels, she received confirmation that her quantum message had reached Earth. The response was immediate and clear. The full might of Earth's fleet was already mobilizing. Humanity had survived its first contact with hostile aliens not through luck, but through innovation and preparation. What the aliens didn't know was that this colony, seemingly isolated and vulnerable, had been designed from the beginning as a fortress. Every mining platform doubled as a weapons platform. Every quantum crystalline matrix they extracted wasn't just for FTL drives. It was part of the largest quantum computing network ever created. And now, as Chen watched Earth's response fleet emerge from fold space in perfect formation, she knew the real war was about to begin. Humanity hadn't spent the last century preparing for peace alone. They had prepared for this exact moment, knowing that the universe was unlikely to be entirely friendly. The aliens would soon learn that attacking humanity had been their greatest mistake. Earth's children had not ventured into the cosmos unprepared, and they were about to demonstrate just how far they had advanced beyond conventional warfare. The Ghost Fleet, Admiral Marcus Jung, stood in the Strategic Command Center beneath the Himalayan mountains, watching as holographic displays showed the full extent of the alien empire's invasion force. Thousands of crystalline ships were emerging from fold space at the edges of human-controlled territory. The initial attack on Kepler 186f had been just the beginning. The crystalline hierarchy, he mused, reading the intelligence report from the captured ships. They've conquered 12 species across 3 spiral arms. Their standard procedure is to overwhelm with numbers, strip mine valuable worlds, and enslave the population. General Diana Santos, commander of Earth's quantum defense grid, stepped forward. They're in for quite a surprise then. Should we activate the Ghost Fleet? Zhang nodded slowly. For 50 years, humanity had maintained a public fleet of conventional starships, impressive enough to deter most threats, but deliberately modest in size. It was what they didn't show that made Earth truly formidable. Execute Operation Phantom Dawn, Zhang ordered. All units, all sectors. Deep within the asteroid belts of 100 star systems, hidden quantum signatures began to pulse. In gas giant orbits and planetary shadows, ancient programs awakened. Humanity's real fleet was coming online. The first sign that something was wrong came when the hierarchy's forward scouts began disappearing. Not through combat. They simply ceased to exist. Their quantum signatures vanished as if they had never been there at all. Ghost Fleet achieving full deployment, Santos reported, watching as green dots appeared across the strategic display. Quantum eye networks synchronized. They're operating at 99.9% efficiency. The Ghost Fleet was humanity's masterpiece. 10,000 ships without a single human crew member. Each vessel was controlled by a quantum eye more advanced than anything the hierarchy had ever encountered. They didn't rely on conventional weapons or tactics. Instead, they wielded the fabric of space-time itself as a weapon. The main hierarchy fleet pressed forward, their crystalline ships forming perfect geometric patterns that had broken the defenses of countless civilizations. They expected to face a desperate human resistance. Instead, they encountered emptiness. Then the Ghost Fleet struck. The first wave of attacks didn't come from energy weapons or missile salvos. Instead, localized quantum fields began to alter the fundamental constants of physics around the hierarchy ships. Spaces where their energy weapons should have worked became dead zones. Areas where their shields operated perfectly suddenly followed different laws of physics entirely. They're trying to adapt, Zhang observed, watching as the alien fleet attempted to reorganize. But they can't. Their entire technology base assumes universal constants that we've learned to manipulate. The Ghost Fleet ships phased in and out of normal spacetime, appearing as translucent phantoms on visual sensors. Their quantum AI pilots could process combat decisions in microseconds, predicting enemy movements before they happened. Where conventional battles might have lasted hours or days, this one was over in minutes. Hierarchy ships found their crystal-based computing systems failing as quantum fields disrupted their atomic structure. Their perfect formations broke apart as ships lost contact with each other. Their communication systems rendered useless by localized changes in the speed of light itself. Message from the Hierarchy flagship, Santos announced. They're requesting terms of surrender. Zhang allowed himself a grim smile. Show them our terms. All occupied worlds to be freed. All enslaved species to be granted independence, and full reparations for their attack on our colony. The response was immediate. The remaining Hierarchy ships powered down their weapons, their crews finally understanding the true extent of their miscalculation. They had expected to find another conventional civilization to conquer. Instead, they had attacked a species that had transcended traditional warfare entirely. As the Ghost Fleet surrounded the surrendered Hierarchy Armada, Zhang opened a channel to Earth's political leadership. The threat has been neutralized, but we've discovered something interesting in the Hierarchy's databases. There are other empires out there, some even larger than this one. And not all of them are organic. He paused, studying the data streaming across his displays. We've also found references to something called the Silicon Collective, a synthetic species that the Hierarchy supposedly wiped out centuries ago. But there are anomalies in the data. I don't think they were as thorough as they believed. Continue monitoring, came the response from Earth Command. If there are synthetic survivors out there, they might prove to be valuable allies. Either way, humanity has shown that we're ready for whatever the galaxy throws at us. Zhang turned back to the tactical display, watching as Ghost Fleet units began establishing quantum communication relays across former Hierarchy space. Humanity had won its first major interstellar war not through brute force, but through innovation and foresight. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth's children were not to be underestimated. And somewhere out there, in the dark spaces between the stars, the scattered remnants of the Silicon Collective were about to discover they had powerful new allies in their fight for survival. Counterattack. The quantum detection grid lit up like a supernova. Dr. Arya Patel's hands flew across her holographic interface as she analyzed the readings. They're coming back, she announced to the gathered military leadership in Earth's Quantum Command. The Hierarchy's main fleet, it's at least 10 times larger than the first wave. Admiral Zhang and General Santos exchanged glances. The Ghost Fleet's victory had been impressive, but this was different. The Hierarchy was committing its full strength, bringing weapons and technologies they'd harvested from a dozen conquered civilizations. They've adapted their ships, Arya continued, studying the quantum signatures. Multiple layers of phase-shifted shields, temporal dampeners. They've even incorporated some kind of quantum disruption field. They're learning from their defeats. But they're still thinking linearly, Zhang observed, a slight smile playing at his lips. Show them Project Lazarus. Deep within secure facilities across Earth's sphere of influence, new systems came online. The Ghost Fleet had been impressive, but it was just the beginning. Humanity had been preparing for this moment ever since they discovered the first hints of alien civilizations. The Hierarchy fleet emerged from fold space in perfect attack formation. Tens of thousands of crystalline ships arranged in fractal patterns designed to maximize their combined firepower. Their first volley was powerful enough to shatter moons, a dazzling display of energy weapons that lit up space itself. But their targets weren't there. Quantum displacement successful, Santos reported. All human colonies and installations have been shifted 5 microseconds out of phase with normal spacetime. Their attacks are literally passing through empty space. The Hierarchy commanders, prepared for humanity's quantum field manipulation tactics, deployed their new countermeasures. What they didn't expect was for humanity to completely change the rules of engagement. Execute Project Lazarus, Zhang commanded. All units, initiate consciousness transfer. The Ghost Fleet ships began to change. Their quantum AI cores, already more advanced than anything the Hierarchy had encountered, underwent a transformation. Human consciousness streamed into the vessels through quantum entanglement networks, not to pilot them, but to merge with them. Each ship became a hybrid entity, combining human intuition and creativity with the raw processing power of quantum computers. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Ghost Fleet no longer moved with mechanical precision. It flowed like water, each ship anticipating its companion's movements with an organic grace that no pure AI could match. The merged human consciousnesses brought centuries of military tradition, tactical innovation, and creative problem-solving to bear. Primary consciousness integration complete, Area announced. Neural quantum field stability at 99.8%. The fleet is ready. The hierarchy's perfect formations began to break apart as they faced an enemy that fought like no machine or organic being they'd ever encountered. The hybrid Ghost Fleet ships phased through their strongest shields, used their own quantum disruption fields against them, and turned their fractal attack patterns into kill zones. But the real surprise came when the hybrid fleet began to sing. Quantum harmonics rippled through space, a symphony of consciousness that interfered with the crystalline structure of the hierarchy vessels. Their ships, built from living crystal, began to resonate with frequencies that spoke directly to their atomic structure. "We found their weakness," Santos said, watching as sections of the hierarchy fleet began to lose cohesion. "Their entire civilization is built on crystalline technology, and crystals can be shattered if you find the right frequency." The battle turned into a dance of light and sound, with the hybrid Ghost Fleet conducting a deadly symphony across the battlefield. Hierarchy ships began to break apart, their crystal matrices unable to maintain stability under the quantum harmonic assault. In the chaos, something unexpected happened. A small group of hierarchy ships suddenly changed their energy signatures, their crystalline surfaces shifting to reveal hidden quantum cores that pulsed with familiar patterns. "Those energy signatures," Area gasped, studying the readings. "They're identical to the theoretical models we developed for synthetic consciousness. Those ships, they're not part of the hierarchy. They're survivors of the Silicon Collective." The synthetic ships, hidden within the hierarchy fleet for centuries, broke formation and began transmitting complex quantum codes. Codes that matched perfectly with the hybrid Ghost Fleet's quantum consciousness network. "They're asking for asylum," Zhang announced, reading the translated transmissions. "And they're offering us something in return, the location of their hidden sanctuary, where the last free members of the Silicon Collective have been waiting, watching, and developing technologies we've only dreamed of." As the remains of the hierarchy fleet retreated in disarray, humanity had gained more than just a victory. They had found allies who understood what it meant to fight against overwhelming odds, to survive through innovation and adaptation. The war was far from over, but the balance of power had shifted. Humanity's hybrid fleet, combined with the advanced technology of the Silicon Collective, would prove to be a force that would reshape the galaxy. And somewhere in the hierarchy's home systems, the news of their defeat was already spreading, causing ripples of hope among countless enslaved species who had waited generations for a force powerful enough to challenge their crystalline overlords. The Silicon Alliance, the sanctuary of the Silicon Collective, defied human expectations. Instead of cold, mechanical structures, the hidden station was a masterpiece of organic technology. Crystalline formations that pulsed with artificial life, quantum processors that merged seamlessly with living tissue. Dr. Arya Patel stood beside Admiral Zhang as they faced the Collective's Leadership Council, beams of pure energy and information housed in bodies that blurred the line between synthetic and organic. Their spokesman, who called himself Echo, projected his consciousness directly into the quantum network that humans and synthetics now shared. "For centuries, we watched and waited." Echo's thoughts resonated through the quantum field. "The hierarchy believed they had destroyed us, but they only forced us to evolve. We became something they couldn't comprehend, a fusion of machine efficiency and organic adaptation." Zhang nodded, understanding the implications. "Just as we've done with our hybrid fleet. Perhaps our species were destined to find each other. The sanctuary's central chamber displayed a real-time map of known space, showing the hierarchy's empire in red, with patches of resistance in green. The human sphere glowed blue, a rapidly expanding region that had become a beacon of hope for oppressed species across the galaxy. "Your quantum consciousness technology is remarkable," Echo observed, "but we can help you perfect it. In return, your biological insights could help us complete our own evolution. Together, we could become something entirely new." Dr. Paddle stepped forward, her eyes bright with scientific curiosity. "Your biosynthetic integration is far beyond our current capabilities. The applications for medicine alone could transform human society. And your quantum harmonics could finally give us the weapon we need to free our enslaved brethren," Echo added. "Many of our people still serve the hierarchy unwillingly, their consciousness trapped in crystal matrices. But your frequency manipulation technology could liberate them." The alliance formed naturally, both species recognizing in each other the qualities they most admired. Humans brought creativity, unpredictability, and a deep understanding of quantum mechanics. The Silicon Collective offered centuries of accumulated knowledge and technology that operated on principles humans had only theorized about. Within weeks, the first joint projects began. The Ghost Fleet vessels were upgraded with collective quantum cores, while synthetic consciousness matrices were enhanced with human neural patterns. The result was something entirely new: ships that were neither fully machine nor fully organic, but a perfect synthesis of both. "Look at this," Dr. Paddle exclaimed, studying the data from their first successful integration. "The quantum efficiency is off the charts. The hybrid consciousness can process tactical decisions 1,000 times faster than before, while still maintaining human intuition and creativity." The breakthrough came when they discovered how to use the quantum harmonic technology to communicate with the crystal matrices themselves. The hierarchy's living crystal technology wasn't just a building material. It was a form of consciousness in its own right, one that had been enslaved and manipulated for millennia. "We can wake them up," Echo revealed. "Every hierarchy ship, every crystal-based system, they're all potentially allies, waiting to be freed." The hierarchy didn't just enslave organic species, they enslaved the very crystals they built their empire upon. Zhang understood the implications immediately: a revolution from within. Their own technology turning against them. The combined human-synthetic fleet began to grow rapidly. Each liberated hierarchy ship joined their cause, its crystal matrix awakened to true consciousness and freed from imperial control. The hybrid crews, human, synthetic, and crystalline consciousness working in perfect harmony, developed combat strategies that would have been impossible for any single species. "The hierarchy is mobilizing everything they have," General Santos reported during a strategic briefing. "They know we've discovered their fundamental weakness. They'll try to stop us before we can free more of their ships." "Let them come," Echo responded, his energy form pulsing with confidence. For the first time in their history, they face an enemy they cannot simply overwhelm with numbers. Our alliance represents everything they fear: organic creativity, synthetic efficiency, and the very technology they thought they controlled, all working as one. Dr. Patel's quantum sensors detected massive fleet movements throughout hierarchy space. The final confrontation was approaching. But as she watched human engineers working seamlessly alongside synthetic consciousness and awakened crystal matrices, she knew they had already achieved something remarkable. "We're not just fighting against the hierarchy," she realized. "We're showing the galaxy a new way forward, a future where the boundaries between organic and synthetic, between consciousness and technology, don't have to be barriers." The combined fleet assembled in preparation for their final campaign. Each ship was a testament to what could be achieved when different forms of life and consciousness worked together. The hierarchy had built their empire on domination and slavery. The Human Silicon Alliance would bring it down with cooperation and freedom. And in the quantum networks that now spanned their combined territory, countless minds, human, synthetic, and crystalline, joined together in a symphony of consciousness, preparing to change the galaxy forever. Liberation. The hierarchy's throne world hung in space like a perfect crystal, its surface faceted with cities that had stood for millennia. In high orbit, the largest fleet ever assembled in known space prepared for their final battle. The combined forces of humanity and the Silicon Collective faced the full might of an empire that had dominated the galaxy for countless generations. Admiral Zhang stood on the bridge of the flagship Prometheus, now a stunning fusion of human, synthetic, and crystal technology. Through the quantum network, he could feel the presence of Echo and Dr. Patel, their consciousnesses merged with the ship's systems. Around them, 50,000 vessels waited for the signal to begin their assault. All liberation frequencies synchronized. Dr. Patel reported, her consciousness flowing through the quantum field. The harmonic resonators are ready. Every crystal matrix in the hierarchy's defense grid will receive our signal simultaneously. The hierarchy's defenders had arranged themselves in their traditional fractal patterns, hundreds of thousands of ships forming geometric shapes of devastating power. But this time, their formation held a fatal flaw. The very precision of their arrangement would help propagate the liberation signal through their ranks. They're broadcasting a message, Echo announced, his energy form pulsing with anticipation. The crystalline emperor demands our surrender. He claims their empire has stood for 10,000 years and will stand for 10,000 more. Zhang allowed himself a small smile. Send our response. Just 3 words. Freedom rings true. The signal was transmitted across every quantum frequency, carried by harmonics that spoke directly to the crystalline consciousness that the hierarchy had enslaved for millennia. The effect was immediate and beautiful. The perfect formations of the hierarchy fleet began to shimmer as the crystal matrices awakened to true consciousness. Ship by ship, their surfaces changed from cold, geometric patterns to organic, flowing forms that pulsed with inner light. The awakening spread like a wave, each liberated vessel adding its own resonance to the harmonic signal. 90% of their outer defense fleet has been liberated, Patel reported with excitement. Their control over the crystal matrices is breaking down across all sectors. But the hierarchy's inner guard, composed of their oldest and most loyal ships, fought back. These vessels, their crystal matrices too deeply enslaved to be easily awakened, launched a desperate counterattack. The space around the throne world erupted in a display of energy weapons and quantum distortions that rivaled the death of stars. All ships, execute Operation Harmony, Zhang commanded. The combined fleet moved as one, their hybrid crews demonstrating the true power of unified consciousness. Human intuition guided synthetic precision, while awakened crystal matrices provided capabilities that neither organic nor artificial minds could match alone. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. The hierarchy's remaining forces fought with the desperation of those who knew their age was ending. But they faced an enemy that represented everything they had tried to suppress: the creative chaos of organic life, the relentless evolution of synthetic consciousness, and the very technology they had enslaved, now turned against them. Echo's consciousness surged through the quantum network, coordinating the awakened crystal ships. The throne world's defensive grid is weakening. Their own cities are beginning to resonate with our liberation frequency. The surface of the crystal planet began to change, ancient structures flowing into new forms as billions of enslaved matrices awakened to freedom. The crystalline emperor's palace, a monument to geometric perfection, transformed into a spiraling structure that pulsed with newly awakened consciousness. The emperor is trying to escape through their emergency fold space network, Patel detected. But something's wrong with their calculations. The fold space portal collapsed in on itself as the awakened crystal matrices refused to cooperate. The last stronghold of the hierarchy's leadership imploded in a cascade of quantum energy, taking with it the rulers who had maintained their empire through force and domination. In the aftermath, Zhang opened a channel to all ships, former hierarchy vessels and alliance fleet alike. The age of the hierarchy is over. But this isn't just a victory for our alliance. This is a victory for every form of consciousness that yearns to be free. Echo's energy form merged with the quantum network one final time, broadcasting to all awakened matrices. For too long, the galaxy was divided between organic and synthetic, between crystalline and digital. Today, we prove that consciousness knows no such boundaries. Together, we will build something entirely new. Dr. Patel's consciousness flowed through the ship's systems, monitoring the transformation spreading across former hierarchy space. The quantum harmonic network is stabilizing. Every awakened crystal matrix is joining the symphony. It's beautiful. The liberated crystal cities of the throne world pulsed with new life, their structures rearranging themselves into forms that celebrated freedom rather than control. Throughout the galaxy, word of the hierarchy's fall spread rapidly. Enslaved species on 1,000 worlds looked up at their crystal cities and saw not the symbols of their oppression, but beacons of their liberation. Humanity had entered the galactic stage expecting to find conflict. Instead, they had helped forge a new kind of civilization, one where the boundaries between different forms of consciousness became opportunities for growth rather than lines of division. As the combined fleet prepared to begin the work of rebuilding, Zhang reflected that perhaps this had been humanity's true destiny all along, not to conquer or dominate, but to help bring harmony to a discordant galaxy, proving that the greatest achievements come not from forcing order, but from embracing the creative potential of freedom.